It's cold as shit outside, y'all. It's not supposed to be 10 degrees outside. But today we're going to be talking about just mastering yourself and just some things that I've learned in my journey of self-development, trying to figure out, what I want to do in my life, what I'm trying to get accomplished, and just some tips that'll help some people out with mastering themselves, trying to figure out what they're wanting to do. Of course, these aren't going to really help you if you're already set in your ways. Hopefully you're not set in your ways already. You can never stop developing yourself, no matter how old you are. You don't have to be set in your ways no matter what. You're just like, I know people that are set in their ways, unfortunately, as they get older. And I hope not to ever get in a space where I feel like I know everything or that I just don't need to develop anymore or get better in any capacity. A couple of questions you might want to ask yourself. So, how much of who you are and what you know was taught to you by someone you trusted when you were younger? Another thing you can ask yourself is, have you ever challenged those thoughts that you've had from when you were taught those when you were younger? Or have you just stuck with them and now you just kind of let it be what it is? So I was watching this TED Talk and it was by a Master Shih-Hing Yi. I may have butchered that name, but he was a Buddhist monk. I'll try to link the video, the TED Talk below as well. But in this TED Talk, he just talks about 5 hindrances of self-mastery. He shared a story about a man who was trying to climb a mountain. And before this man climbed the mountain, the man walked around the base of the mountain and he saw a traveler. And the man stopped the traveler and asked him, how the travelers got to the top of the actual mountain. And with the traveler explained to him what they saw at the top of the mountain, shared the information without a problem. The map kept going around the base of the mountain and asked about 30 more travelers the same question that were coming down from the mountain. How did they go to the top and what was their experience like at the top of the mountain? After all this, the man decided not to actually climb the mountain. The reason why he decided not to climb the mountain was because he thought he knew what was at the top of the mountain. I encourage you to go watch it for sure, which I think is like a 10-minute video, I believe. But either way, the moral of the story to that man walking around the base of the mountain asking those travelers is that there is information and it's possible to share information with words, but it's not possible to share the experience and the clarity of actually doing the task. Even though other people would tell you how they do something, how they get to do something and all this other stuff, and you think you may know what it's like. You don't really know what it's like. You got to experience it yourself. You got to do it yourself. All of our lives are unique and are too unique to copy the path of someone else. And there are too many mistakes in mastering anything. Try to look at yourself in the mirror, in the figurative mirror, and to tell yourself that you are wrong in a lot of different areas of your life. Even for me personally, I've I try to reevaluate myself constantly. I try to see what I'm doing, see what I don't like about what I'm doing, and try to change it if I can go ahead and change it. Well, it's not if I can go ahead and change it. I'm gonna change it if I see that there's a problem with it. Not just saying, oh, well, that's just the way I am. It's hard to look at yourself in that mirror, and being able to rebuild yourself from the ground up is something that I encourage everyone to do. I'm not gonna twist your arm or anything or be like, oh, you're a bad person if you don't do this. It's not that at all. But I just think it really puts things in perspective for you if you reevaluate yourself every once in a while. You don't have to do it as often as I do because I probably overanalyze myself, to be honest. I try to evaluate myself for any decision, even if I don't think about it in the immediate moment. Sometimes I'll think about it later on and maybe I'll write a journal note or something about it and just figure out what I can do to try to make it better in the future. But just in these past 12 months, I've tried to rebuild myself multiple different times. At the end of 2020, I started rebuilding myself again. At the end of January, I started rebuilding myself again. At the beginning of February, which is a different time, I started rebuilding myself again. Even now, if you don't ever question yourself, and if you don't ever question anything in your life, how do you know if something that you're doing is right or if it's wrong? If you're always thinking the same way. I used to think the way that I was and correct and that people had to accommodate themselves to me. And, you know, I think a lot of people do think this way, even though they may not admit it. A lot of people say that they know that they're not always right, but in actuality, they don't believe that themselves. Yeah, even for me, I would always say that, oh, you know I'm not always right, and I know that everything I'm thinking is not right, and blah, 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 you know, whatever excuses I would make. But if I really think about it, when I said it, like as soon as after I finished saying it, I went right back to the way I was thinking. I didn't really believe what I was saying. And I think that's true for a lot of people, you know, even though, like I said, a lot of people don't want to admit. But something I had to do, you know, I just had to humble myself and really think about what it is that I was trying to get accomplished. We see that a lot of what our actions are, you know, don't add up to what we're trying to be. If we really humble ourselves and really take a critical look at what we're doing, what we're thinking, what our actions are, knowing that you are not always right, it's just half the battle. Actually doing something about not being right is getting to the root of what it is. I just encourage people to, you know, take a critical look at themselves, really try to master themselves, which, you know, I haven't mastered myself by any means, you know, I'm still on that journey. And I think the journey of self-mastery, it takes a lifetime. I don't think it's something that's quick. I don't think it's something that you can do in a day or a month or a year or even 2 years or even a decade. You know, I think it's a constant battle and trying to redefine yourself, trying to really figure out what's right. With all that being said, I just really encourage you to try to challenge yourself, who you are and what you are wanting to get accomplished, and think if, you know, if your thoughts and actions really align with what your goals are in life. I just think that we can all learn a lot from ourselves if we really like step back, be humble about everything, and just realize that we're human and that we're never going to be perfect, but just trying to get as close to perfect as possible. It's like a never-ending battle, you know. It's okay, you know. It's not something to be anxious about or cause anxiety. It's just something to, okay, I know I'm not perfect, but I want to. That is today's video. Gotta edit now. Someone will edit for me. No, okay.